We have such a treat today. Let's get Instagram set with us here. Almost there, guys. Okay, here we go. Hi, Lauryn.
Hi.
Welcome to the Staffless Practice podcast.
I'm excited. I love being on podcasts versus hosting them. It's so much less stress.
Really? It's less stress to be interviewed?
Oh, God, yeah.
Tell me what you want people to know who don't know you from a hole in the wall. Who are you? Where are you? What's your jam?
I've owned a clinic for 15 years. I've been married for 15 years. I live in like super rural Wisconsin, so therefore I have to travel a lot. So my husband and I are very like wholesome in our values of like raising our family by family. And so therefore, though, to get my fix, I traveled 10 to 12 weeks out of the year. And so really I've tried my best. I'm going to be 40 this year. We are on an aggressive track to retire from healthcare at 47. That's when we'll be empty nesters. So I've got about 7.5 more years to like get some pieces in place so that can happen. And
then what are you going to
over here living our best life?
I have to know what you're going to do. What are you going to do when you're 47?
Whatever I want. No, I won't be retired. Like I will work until the day I die, because philosophically, I think that's just one of my God-given gifts is my like drive and ideas. But the geographic constraints of this type of healthcare isn't working for my freedom anymore. And so, and I'm not sick of solving the same problem, but it's just, running a practice is monotonous. It really, really is. And I'm ready to not do that.
Let's go there. How do you keep it from being monotonous? How do you spark joy in the everyday rigmarole of running a practice? How do you keep it exciting?
That's a really, really great question.
Yeah.
So the thing is like, you have to realize what you would rather be doing, right? And so this whole conversation is so hard, and there's always so many caveats because and so I usually only start with one caveat and say, none of us went into healthcare to become rich. Like there's way easier ways to make money than doing this. Like I have yet to encounter someone when I'm coaching or talking or interviewing or whatever that didn't enter this with a servant's heart. Like, right. There was this kind of subconscious exchange.
Mm-hmm.
None of us really had this with our counselor or, career counselor, but it was just like, I want to help people. And so we went in to healthcare, and there is this subconscious agreement that happens with the universe that we think if we're going to commit our life to serving and helping, that like we'll just be taken care of. Like I say subconscious because none of us really consciously had that. But yeah, none of us really nobody came in and said like, hey, just so you know, you might struggle hardcore financially, emotionally. You might burn out because like if we actually calculated your hourly rate, if we calculated your hourly rate, you might actually get paid like $15 an hour. You still cool with this? Like that conversation didn't happen, right? Like most of us were just like, we didn't go into it for the money, but we just kind of thought like, we won't have to worry about it. And so, like when you go into practice, a lot of people I am kind of reclaiming the word burnout. I think that as a millennial, we really took burnout and like ruined it because burnout is really just exhaustion now. Burnout used to be like, oh, you had a heart attack at 45. Yeah, can't do that. Like, right. Like burnout. I don't even know I don't think there is actually a medical description of what it is like, but it's super physiological. It's like really. And so we've kind of been like, oh, I was burnt out. And it's like, were you? And it's like, well, I was really tired.
How do you know what is it? What would you say it is? Have you been burnout?
So I would say that what most of us mean when we say avoid burnout, when
Mhm.
we say I burnt out, is that we were exhausted emotionally and physically, and we're finally picking up the cues from our environment that this is no longer sustainable.
Mhm.
Now, the human loves comfort, and hates change. And so the reason I say, like, I really think we have to stop, because what's happening is we're saying, like, oh, all of us coaches, avoid burnout, avoid burnout. And you're like, were you burnt out? And then we tell this story. So kind of to end, like, my story was I didn't have freedom from my clinic. I was bored. I was exhausted. And
Mhm.
so what I did then was make really difficult changes that I wouldn't have done otherwise unless I was kind of forced to.
Mhm.
And on the other side of that discomfort of making changes to build this practice I love, I'm happy. But if I wouldn't have gone through my story of burnout, I probably would have stayed the same.
Mhm.
Right. And so, like, so many of us, when we're like, oh, yeah, burnout's bad, and then they start to tell the story, it's this story that sparked huge change for the better.
Mhm.
And so, like, yes, true burnout, true whatever scientific, but like for a lot of us, burnout is actually just exhaustion and approaching a boundary that makes us uncomfortable enough to actually change. And
God, I feel like I don't know a lot of people who aren't burnout, especially
right.
especially in the wellness care here. I was just saying this yesterday that what AI is doing is changing the game on how fast things move. And if
Mhm.
it's multiplying it by a ratio that we've never known. And
Right.
but what's happening is that's becoming the new pace.
Yep.
So if you and this is true for our practice members, it's true for us as practice owners, it's true for our staff, our family, our kids who are in school. Like the amount of information that goes through our kids'
Yep.
nerve systems in a day is like the amount that would go through in 5 years when I was a kid in school, right?
Yep.
So I I envy and I worry for the people who are like, I'm not paying any attention to it. I'm gonna read my books, right? I'm gonna do one thing at a time. I'm not gonna talk to GPT. I'm gonna have a flip phone, right? They're staying in this lane of one thing at a time when the rest of the world is like fast forward. And I think that the burnout is happening whether or not we realize it is because of the changing
Absolutely.
pace.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is like you can talk to someone who works 20 hours a week and they have busy kids' soccer schedules, and they're trying to keep their house clean and keep in shape, and they may communicate like, I'm so burnt out.
Mhm.
And then you may talk to someone who runs a podcast, has a 7-figure coaching program, is also trying to see, like, still has kids, has 2 practices, has 4 associates, is da 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 da, and they're like, "Yep, I feel burnt out too."
Yep.
So, like, I don't know, I'd rather be the other burnt out. Like, if you're gonna be
Mhm.
like, you're right. I don't talk to anybody who's like, "Actually, I have found," it's like, okay, so it's not burnt out. We're just, as a society, tired. We're just tired and a little anxious. And yeah, AI and social media is all contributing to it. And so, like, so what? So now what?
So now what?
So
And it
now
started
what?
with this pause. It started like everything went on pause. And then it was like, okay, fast forward, let's go. So now what, Lauren? What do we do now?
Well, so I think that one of the problems is our continual self judgment without admitting that we're not going to do the work to change. That is what will burn someone out just as much as somebody who's working hard. Okay. So like you can have two people and they both want to make $100,000 more next year. Okay. So you have two different clinic owners. One, they're both tired though. They're both equally burnt out and they both wish, and their financial stress is part of what's burning them out. Okay. So like, that's the thing is like, yes, we're burnt out from showing up for patients. We're burnt out from solving problems in our clinic and employees and all of that. But also living paycheck to paycheck contributes to burnout because it's stress. Okay. So they're both financially stressed. They want to make $100,000 more next year. They're both exhausted. Clinic owner A is too tired it's not the right time for a coach. They just can't this, they just can't that. They don't want to make the hard decisions. They're just too tired to do anything, but they still emotionally beat themselves up that they wish they were making more money. They're too tired to actually change anything, but they're still emotionally beating themselves up. Person B is like, I'm tired, I'm going to do it anyway. And goes, now the point here is not that person B is correct. The way that we would make them both correct is person A needs to go, I'm not going to do those changes right now. So therefore, what the changes I will do is live within my means to take this financial pressure off and accept that this is not my year for growth. Maybe this is a year where you're going to have a baby. Right. And so what happened? So like person A is like, you know what? I would love that this was my year that I could like tackle that huge clinic thing that would like da 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 da. But realistically, I don't have the bandwidth for that this year. So therefore, I'll like try it next year. Right. Like, and but instead they know it's not their year and they continue to beat themselves up. And so they still emotionally. So it's just like, listen, just be happy where you're at. Or if you're unhappy, then do something about it.
Because the truth is that the money that comes, we think like, when I lose 10 pounds, when I get the money, when I get the husband, when I get the thing, there's a whole new set of problems and challenges. And if we can see every time I see a problem, it takes me, the older I get, the less time it takes me to say, what's the opportunity here? I haven't always been an opportunist. I used to be more of a victim, like, oh man, here's another problem, right? So give me like the day-to-day. How do you flip the switch on that and see the opportunities in these challenges? Or how do you stay connected to your truth, not necessarily keeping up with the Joneses or whatever it is for each and Dr. 1 and Dr. 2?
Right. You know, so like, I'm going to give you the honest answer because one of the things I hate the most is like coaches that are always like, I've reached the mountaintop and like I've solved all, like dealing with comparison and competitiveness and like always like coveting my neighbor's success is something that I am literally like working on. Like me and God are working on that like right now of like, it's like this switch has flipped and I'm like, this is not serving me. This is not serving me and is actually robbing me of the joy of my own successes. And so like I am like in a battle right now because like, you know, when you like just draw awareness around a problem and you're like, oh, you got to go. You have to go now. But like, it's like deeply ingrained in my like nervous system and personality. So I'm like, why can't I just get rid of this? Right. Like, so that answer is like, that's in process and continue.
So awareness, being aware of it.
Awareness for sure. But as far as like, what's the day to day look like is I have had to really give up perfectionism in the pursuit of being able to have more freedom.
Done is good enough. Like that kind of thing.
Yes. Yes. And perfectionism is truly what will hold so many clinic owners back from experiencing the freedom and joy. First of all, just the ability to start to initiate something. It's so much safer to sit back and be like, it's not the perfect time. It's not the perfect font. It's not the perfect colors. Everything, like, it's not perfect yet. So I'm just going to hold it back from the universe. And I'm not going to like put it out there to be judged, to be vulnerable, to be critiqued, to pivot. And so I would say that one of my superpowers is that, and I don't know if this is a little bit of my ADHD or what, but like I can only think so far down the road of like, and then what's going to happen. And so therefore I don't need the entire map, because first of all, like, right, anybody who thinks, okay, I now have the entire map of this is step one's going to happen, then step two, step three, we don't have control, right? So like typically I just need to know like step 1 and 2. And I deeply trust myself that once I'm presented with what actually, however the cards fall, in whatever step 1 or 2 is, whether this is hiring an associate, a brand new marketing plan, writing a book, new marketing ads, whatever it is, I just need to see step 1 and 2, get some data back, and then I trust myself that I will make the best next step once I have some of that data. Mm-hmm. And so that like just kind of faith in myself and understanding that like you could sit back and go, I have perfect step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but like everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face, right? Or something like that. Isn't that the phrase? And like in life, in entrepreneurship, like you can pretend you have all the steps figured out, whether it's raising your kids, like, you know, oh, I'm gonna confront my teenager about this problem. And then all of a sudden new information enters and you're like, well, now what do I do? Because my perfect plan is no longer doable. And so it's like, when you start to understand that, it gives you the faith to just start.
I feel like the only thing that I know for sure, like I'm positive of, is that if I adjust somebody, they're going to be better for it. I know that. I have no doubt at all. And that took about 15 years in practice, right? And I feel like I literally coined myself, Lauryn, the expert mistake maker and solution creator, because I'm so good at screwing things up. And I mean, if we give ourselves permissions to screw things up and be vulnerable, and you know, one of the closest people in my world thinks about everything before they do it. And I do it. And then I think about what the hell did I just do, right?
Yes.
And but I love people who think about everything and then do it because of their groundedness and how their world doesn't move under their feet so much. And then I can look at that and say, oh, there's stability somewhere because of how fast we move.
They're living in their own hell in their head. I mean, like they really are. If you ask them, everybody's broken. Like, right? Those grounded people are just like, you ask them what's going on in their head, and that narrative, they don't feel that confidence, that instability that we think they do. We feel chaotic. We're like, you know what? We're going to mess it up, but then I'm going to fix it. And then I'm going to learn something. And then it's going to be better.
You're going to slay. You're going to
They look at us.
What does that mean? She slays the day.
Oh my God. I don't even know. I started it in 2019. So we're on like episode 370 or something like that. Oh, I think I missed my anniversary. Shoot. I think we just had our 2019. Would this be my 6th year or 7 years?
Is your podcast?
She Slays the Day is the name of the podcast.
Tell us about it.
So it really started, and this is like, talk about a niche evolution. I love talking about niches online because so many people are terrible at them. But like, it started really I was coaching for a big mega coaching company, like practice management, and it just wasn't serving me anymore. Needed to leave. And so stepped away and immediately missed coaching people. Like I missed giving advice. I missed problem solving. It's funny because I'm bored with solving the same problems in my clinic, but you bring up a problem in your clinic and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, here's what we're going to do. It's like somehow a new problem.
It lights you up. Yeah.
Right. And so I was like, well, I just want to like solve problems. And so I was like, I'll just start a podcast. That sounds great. And my techie husband. So like normally
your cute techie husband.
He's so hot. Yeah. So like normally I feel like there's certain hurdles if someone's like, I should start a podcast. Well, I would have normally encountered like tech issues and like that would have slowed me down. But I literally sent him like a DM like, hey, I think I'm going to start a podcast and this like free 10-day challenge says like, this is the software and equipment we need. Within 10 minutes, he comes from our downstairs office upstairs where I was. And he's like, okay, so that's the microphone. They say we already own that software.
Really?
And I was like, oh, cool. He's like, yeah, we could. And I was like, oh, so you can like start this for me. And he's like, yeah, that's not a problem. And so that hurdle wasn't a thing. And so we just started. I started as a female podcast for female chiropractors, female nervous system focused chiropractors. Mm-hmm. That's where it started.
And I only had focused on anything other than the nervous system.
What?
Sorry,
oh yeah, they are. Holy moly. It's a whole different Instagram algorithm.
Is there any other kind of chiropractor?
So then what started to happen, I only had female guests, but I would get these DMs. So right out of the gate, first week, it had 1,000 downloads. And I was like, oh,
wow.
Okay. Yeah, which is unique for podcasts. And so I started getting DMs from guys being like, male chiropractors being like, I know I'm not supposed to listen to your podcast. And I would be like, oh, well, no, it's okay. Like, it's okay. And then, I continued to get DMs from people being like, these aren't really female issues. And I knew that. It wasn't like we were talking about our periods, right? Like we were, the first episode was about maternity leave, but then we were talking about things that both genders deal with, right? Like balancing, hiring, like profitability. And so then we kind of were like, okay, I'm just for nervous system based chiropractors. But then as I continued to evolve through like boredom and like physiologically just like my 30s, and we just kind of started to talk about other topics as well. And so then it kind of evolved into just more entrepreneurship stuff. We got into our wealth building journey. And so we would talk about real estate. We would talk about whole life. We would talk about, and so over the last 7 years, it's really turned into a podcast for healthcare professionals who have lots of passions and want to build wealth. Like want to build wealth, don't want to leave healthcare. If you ask me now, I was actually asked this on a different podcast about 6 months ago. They said, like, if you could erase one thing from the world, what would it be? And I said, doctors leaving healthcare. Like, I think that we have a big issue happening right now in healthcare that I think only healthcare providers really know about. I think the schools are aware of it. The schools are seeing less attendance. They're seeing low signups for schools. Schools are very aware. But we have people going like, honestly, the exhaustion and the hours without the guaranteed pay, the student loan debt required.
The student loan debt is crazy.
It really is.
It's
and
insane.
You talk to a doc who graduated in the 90s and they can't understand. Like they graduated with like $70,000 of student loan debt. Right. And it's like, oh no. You talk to a student now and it's like 270.
Yeah.
Like it's not. And so we have docs who are like, I'm going to opt out. I think that, they're turning into financial advisors or real estate agents or they're electricians. They're just going like, I don't know. There's just jobs that are less stress that pay as much or more. And so we have people leaving healthcare and we have people not even entering it anymore.
And I will also say for people who are listening, there are people who are loving every minute of practice who
yes, me. That's the thing is like,
Hi.
I love
Right?
it now. Like, I
Love it.
love it now. I found my sweet zone is like 10 to 12 hours a week.
Mhm.
Now, some people will work 10 to 12 hours a week and that's their only income. And so they just learn to live within their means. I don't like being told that I can't buy what I want. And so like for me, like figuring out, calculating the thing was like, all right, so in order for me to love practice, I need to have more bandwidth to do other things I like. So that 10 to 12 hours a week is like, I love seeing patients during that time. It's great. But I need income coming from other streams. And so we've worked to diversify, our real estate portfolio, our investments, the online coaching and programs. And so it's like, now I have the budget or like the income of somebody who works in healthcare 60 hours a week. But, and so that's how, kind of answer your first question you asked was that's what I had to do is I had to go like, all right, how much money do I need to like live the life that will make me happy? Okay. Am I going to do that solely through healthcare? No, because I found that too boring. So like, all right, so then where am I going to make that money elsewhere? And so it was like, this is the equation that works now of like.
So creative moneying and backing into it. And I can't believe we're already out of time. I don't know how that happened.
I knew this was going to happen.
Right.
This happens on every single podcast that tells me like, we'll go for about 20 to 25 minutes. I'm like, haha, you haven't heard me talk.
So people can find you at Dr. Lauryn B. And you guys look on the bottom of the screen, please notice her name is creatively spelled. So find Dr. Lauryn on Dr. Lauryn B on Instagram. Where else can they find you? And what do you want the people listening to the Staffless Practice podcast to know?
So I just wrapped up. So I'm doing a free like masterclass series this summer. We just did one in June, on vacation proofing your clinic. The only way it's free if you show up live, you can buy the replay. So if you click on my link tree on Instagram, you'll find the Rich Doc Summer Series. We have another one coming up in July. I think it's July 17th. It's free if you show up live. In that one, we are talking about your out-of-office wealth plan. So we're talking about some of the revenue things that I'm doing outside that can afford me to work 10 hours a week and, and have multiple eggs in the basket. And then in August, the free masterclass is your beach chair content, like system. So it's the Lazy Doc's guide to creating content online. So that's going on right now that you can sign up for. Really, that's kind of the only thing. We do have a wait list. I have a brand new kind of my signature program is right now being all reconstructed to incorporate more AI and systems in it. So that is, we have a wait list going for that. That is Rich Doc. Oh my God, what's it called? Rich Doc Lab. I blanked. Rich Doc is everywhere now.
Watching this, you'll see all of Lauryn's stuff. So I asked you to be on my podcast because I saw you at ICPA, and I felt like you had such a presence on stage, and you really were in your power. And I not only identify with that, I also have a great amount of respect for it, and just keep crushing it. I think you're awesome.
Thank you so much, Jody. I think you're awesome. I'm sad we didn't get to have coffee, but next ICPA.
A walk, coffee, whatever. Yeah. We'll do it for sure. So if you guys are watching, go make the world better with great care. Thanks for tuning in. Dr. Lauryn, please hang tight while we end the stream. Thanks for being here.